My work is based on thinking of past and present and, somehow juxtaposition of past and present concerns. I've been photographing portrait paintings in different art museums for about 20 years now, and when I meet the painting in art museums, I feel like what I'm doing is knocking at the wooden frame of the painting and asking, is anybody there? For me, the thing is trying to create some kind of living context to reconsider the lives of these people once being portrayed. Perhaps the first time when I see the painting I'm interested in is when I look at the eyes of a person once being painted. That's what most attracts me. And that's always the starting point. I move down to see all these metals and decorations, all over his chest, but basically it's eyes. I'm very keen on this painting, really. It's fascinating in how the face is very, very realistic and naturalistic way of painting, and then suddenly all these metals are with these brush strokes and all these details are painted in a very rough way, almost like impressionist way, and this contrast is very fascinating to me. But also I like there's all these very subtle cracks on the surface of painting, because I like this idea of kind of biography of a painting, that it has a history of its own. As a material, historical object, it has a history of its own. So from 20 years on, I've been interested in light, different ways of using light and reflections and shades and shadows, etc. When I was photographing the Wellington piece, I was trying to place the work in a way that there is a very strong reflection of daylight on the surface of the painting, and I was very interested in all these metals and decorations. I was looking at the material painting and material surfaces of this particular painting, Goya's brush strokes and flow time. Of course light, because I think that light is something, it makes world visible and photography possible. I've been doing this series called Shadows and Reflections, and it's all based on portrait, historical portrait paintings in different European art museums where I've worked. And if you think of those paintings, like paintings from 17th century, early 17th century probably, so there was no electricity, and the paintings were in somebody's living room, and it was very often it was dark and etc. So you have to learn to look at the paintings when it's dim and it's like almost no light at all, and they speak in another way differently to you in darkness. That's when the paintings and these people become really live and present, and they start to move and talk to you over the centuries. Somebody who has been living 300-400 years ago, and that's a very moving experience, trying to imagine the lives of these people. What I'm looking for is that I hope that finally in my photographs that the persons being portrayed, that they somehow hover between and beyond and behind the material layers of the very painting itself.